Hey, it's Judy Pfeiffer. Happy Pfeiffer Focus. Today, I'm so excited. I have a guest here today by the name of Scott Hamling with Move Up Mortgage. And Scott has been in the business for over 30 years, first as an appraiser, then in charge of a whole appraisal division. And now he is a senior loan officer with Move Up Mortgage. And before we get to the interview, I wanted to share with you the average days on market, according to RE Colorado, as of the day that I record this, is 41 days on market. So Scott Hamling with Move Up Mortgage, thank you so much for being here today. Scott, we are here in 2023. We have been through the Great Recession. We have been through short sales. But I don't think in our experience that we have ever seen, like we did in 2022, and yes, we made it through COVID and all of that, but in 2022, when it was about July, prices of gas went sky high. What happened with rates? Rates went...
It was June 16th. I
Okay.
remember it the day well. It was the day that everything turned. And Judy, it was so strange to see our economy and our market turn so quickly. It truly turned in the matter of a week. And you went from having multiple offers, multiple showings, to listing agents saying, I haven't had a showing for a week now, or 10 days, or 2 weeks. And everything just stopped. And it was stunning to see how quickly it happened. I had been chatting with some folks over the last couple of years saying, rates are going to come back up, and when they do, things are going to slow down. No one saw it turn the way that it did. It truly was shocking.
Right. So things changed like this, and we have sellers who thought their house was worth a lot of money.
Yes.
Right? And we had the buyers who all of a sudden stopped looking at houses.
Yes. So what happened was when interest rates did start to tick up, they moved so quickly that a lot of buyers that were qualified to purchase a home with a loan up to $500,000, they just weren't able to get the financing any longer. So they got pushed out. They weren't replaced by new buyers because the new buyers were scared because interest rates were continuing to go up rather quickly. And that put this whole chilling effect on all real estate. Colorado has a lot of first-time home buyers. We have a very young clientele. I'd say probably half of my buyers right now are first-time home buyers, early 30s. They get a lot of input from their folks, and their folks are talking to them, and their folks were all saying, don't go look for houses. This is not the time to buy. There's a housing bubble, and all these other crazy things that were being said. And it just had a chilling effect. And the poor home sellers that were, they just didn't have that new carpet in place 3 months earlier. And if they would have made $100,000 more. And now they were just stuck with this house that they thought in their mind was worth more because their neighbor's house had sold for more. So it just became this very difficult situation for everybody.
So your phone probably blew up.
Yes, it did.
Okay. So who did it blow up with? Was that consumers? Was that your buyers? Was that, people that you work with, other professionals perhaps that you have relationships with? Who called you?
Everyone called me. Everyone did. You called me several times.
Yes, I did.
Judy,
yes.
you called me many times.
I had to pull out my hair a couple times.
Yes, it was a crazy time. My buyers were calling because they were fearful of the market. They were fearful of what they were hearing on TV. I finally just started telling buyers when we first started working together, you're no longer allowed to watch the news. You just can't watch it anymore.
Right.
It's just, you can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Agents were calling me because, as with my background in appraisals, they were reaching out and saying, Scott, we don't know where to price a house. We didn't know really where to price it during the crazy times because it was going up so high. But they were really having and struggling with coming up with a pricing for a new home, for their new listings, and get it to price where it will actually sell or will attract buyers. And that was something that was very difficult to do. And so agents were calling, buyers were calling, other loan officers were calling me just because I have lived through the Great Recession. I started appraising in 1982. And in the early 80s is when rates were at 13, 14, 15%. And they were calling because they'd never seen a market like this and they didn't know what to do. So it was pretty much everyone was calling. It was crazy.
So we heard from buyers we need to wait. I think some real estate professionals may not have known how to maneuver through the process.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, as we know, when the calendar rolled to 2023, we lost over 12% of our market with expireds.
Yep.
Do you have any comments to make about what happened with why we lost 12% of the market?
I think it goes back to even when home prices were escalating so quickly because rates were so low. And we saw a lot of people even leave the market then just because it was moving so fast. It was such a difficult market. I felt so terrible for my buyers. My goodness, some of these buyers, they'd put offers in on 12, 13, 15 houses and not get any of them.
Right.
And I think it wore a lot of people out. I think that wore people out. Then the market shifted, and instead of, going back into the market, they just decided, yep, I'm just going to stay where I am. We're going to stay in our place for at least another year, and we're just going to see where this all ends up. There were a lot of sellers that still could not come to grasp with what the realities were of the market and weren't willing to sell their house for where it needed to be priced. And so they pulled their house from the market or let it expire. And then we also have all of these other folks that would like to move, have had another child, or somebody like me that is, my youngest went off to college, and we've got this house that's way too big for just my wife and myself. I did get a new dog. His name is Kevin, so I've replaced my child with Kevin. But we have a lot of people that are fearful of moving because they have an interest rate of 2.5%. They're like, all right, so we can move, but our interest rate is now going to be 6.5%. I'd much rather keep this large house that's too much for us rather than pay more in interest. And so there are all of these dynamics that are going on in our market right now that are keeping our inventory low. And that low inventory is what's going to drive home value increases
Back
up.
up.
They're going to start to go back up this spring.
Right. Because number one, there are still people that think they need to wait when it comes to listing their home.
Mm-hmm.
But then we do still have those millennials, as you mentioned, as well as people moving here from other states that want to move into Colorado or because of their circumstances.
Exactly.
Multi-generational also.
Exactly. Right now, half my buyers are millennials. Half of them are moving in from out of state. They're all highly educated. They have good jobs. They have good careers. They have good income. And they're getting to decide where they want to live. And they're not wanting to live in some of these, Rust Belt cities back east. And they want our lifestyle. They want our four seasons. They want our mountains, and they want our way of life. And they're willing to move here, and they have the money to pay for it.
All right.
Yeah.
And so what advice would you give to a seller right now?
I would tell a seller right now to not be greedy. I would tell them to listen to their agent, to understand the value, understand that the craziness that happened a year ago was solely driven by interest rates being at 3%. People could finance in the purchase of their property. They can't do that as much when rates are in the 6s or the 7s. I strongly believe this, that this spring, it's going to get nasty again. It's going to get crazy. Just in the last, since Friday, we're filming on, today's Tuesday, right?
Yes.
Every day. I can't keep up. I would say since Friday, I've received 7 new loan applications, and I've received at least 12 new referral calls. The buyers are coming back, and they're going to be entering the market. And they're saying, we're thinking March or April. I'm like, no, I want to get you approved right now. I want you out shopping this weekend.
Right.
I want you out right now, because as soon as all the buyers come back, the sellers aren't going to be interested in offering 2-1 buy downs or interested in making repairs that come up on inspection reports. And they're going to have multiple offers, and we're going to see the same crazy thing happen. It's just rates aren't going to be quite as high as they were.
Okay.
Yep.
And usually the last thing that I ask my guests is, do you have a closing quote for us?
I do. It's from Will Rogers, and it says, "Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait."
Okay. And Scott, thank you so much for being here today with me. And Scott, do you want to share your information with the folks here on the podcast?
Of course I would. Hey, anyone out there that needs financing, please feel free to give me a call. My name is Scott Hamling, and you can reach me at 303-564-1966. Again, 303-564-1966. If you're a real estate agent out there and you need help pricing your houses or listings or just coming up with values or any general questions, feel free to reach out. I'm always available to help out real estate agents. That's how Judy and I met.
That's correct. And so if you think you might not be in the right place, call me. I will find the right space. Thanks for watching Fight for Focus. Until next time, see you soon.